girls with their nails done now. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their nails done. Girls with their
Booyah!
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Boom, boom, punch, punch.
Yeah. What is going on? We are back again, baby. It's your boy Preston, PhatSamuraiGuy. We are all back again with another episode of Versus, episode 54. And we have a awesome guest have returned once again. You know him, you love him. That's right. Kung Fu Santa, Rick Myers, award-winning author and Hall of Famer. That's right. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back. And Lost Phoenix fans out there, make sure you guys check out that movie. The director, James Couche. Welcome back, brother.
Good to be back, guys.
Yes, yes. And we had a blast talking the Raid 2, Electric Boogaloo versus John Wick Chapter 4. Eric, it was a blast having you for that one. Welcome back, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm seeing the collection in the back there. There's some Baby Assassins too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Copy that. Did you review that movie yet?
Yes.
Nice,
Just
nice.
recently.
All right, cool. I'm gonna have to check out your video and check it out. But it is time. That's right. Let's go. Teresa from TC Talks. Good to see you. Therese, good to see you. Yeah, good to see everybody.
Or to say it properly now that the trailer is out, let's fucking go.
I love that. Good
Yeah.
to see you, Shin Batman. Good to see everyone. We have two awesome titles going head to head today, baby. Two classics. That's right. Two 80s action martial arts movie classics starring the one and only Cynthia Rothrock and many others, legends. And we're going to jump right into this. Actually, before we get into it, really quick history with me with Cynthia Rothrock. I don't know if Eric and James, if you were the same, but if you had the same
Probably.
experience, I experienced her career in reverse. Like I was like, hey, who is this? Lady Dragon. All right, China O'Brien. Oh man,
Yeah.
who is this? She's awesome. She's amazing. I'm a fan. I love her movies with Richard Norton and all that, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden I came across a movie called Shanghai Express Millionaires Express. And I was like, oh my God, Cynthia Rothrock's kicking the crap out of Sammo Hung. Like, this is amazing. And then when I discovered these movies, I couldn't believe it. Like the fight choreography, the action direction, like I was stunned. And I became even more of a fan of hers. Are you the same, Eric?
Yeah. I watched her and Richard way back in the day, and it was kind of like my first exposure to this kind of style of action with women involved. And I didn't really get into a lot of the Hong Kong stuff until like the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait a second, she was in some Hong Kong flicks. And then I checked those out. And yeah, it was very exciting to kind of go backwards like you did.
Yeah. James, were you the opposite? Did you follow her in order, or did you go backwards like we did?
So it's probably more backwards. You see a couple of her American movies at like late night on like HBO or Cinemax or something. And then you find out, oh, she worked with some of like the best of the best Hong Kong talent.
Yeah.
And then I also saw her interview with Scott Adkins, and just the stuff she was talking about just made me like, I'm in awe. Like, she is a true badass.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Rick was in the thick of it. He was there.
I was there
in the trenches, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that I didn't meet Cynthia until the LA premiere of China O'Brien. But I had seen all the movies. I was in Hong Kong at the time and Hollywood. So I knew of her and was a big fan of her already. So when she did China O'Brien, I was very hopeful. And then I saw the movie and I went, okay. But that was certainly not any of her problem. And we've been very close friends ever since. So I see her all the time at all the martial art events and all the rest of it. And, so I've interviewed her. I've interviewed Michelle. I've interviewed Melvin Wong. So I know all about these movies and I love them. because I grew up with the John Steed and Emma Peel Avengers on television. And I was looking for someone of the Emma Peel ilk ever since. But of course, now America's not going to do that. So Hong Kong. And of course, at first, Hong Kong didn't do that either. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to read a bit from the Book of Rick to put you in the proper, to bring you to the place. Meanwhile, the boys' club that was the 1980s kung fu film industry rolled on. That is, until the pendulum swung again, and mogul producer Dixon Poon got a really bad idea. Why not launch his fledgling D&B production company with a film about two butt-kicking beauties? Why not indeed? The resulting film, Yes, Madam, 1985, but made years earlier, named for what police subordinates say when replying to a superior female officer, was decreed unreleasable when director Corey Yun Kwai finished it. And then I go on talking more about Michelle Yeoh and Michelle Kwan at that time and all the rest of it. And let's see, do I say yes, madam? And also Dixon Poon winds up marrying Michelle because he was attracted to her. And they did another movie called Royal Warriors, which was a success. And Royal Warriors did what she, Rothrock, Corey Yun, and Sanity could not. Its success freed Yes, Madam from the vaults and into theaters where, of course, it became a huge hit. Looking at it now, it's hard to figure out what anyone could consider unreleasable about it outside of standard operating sexism.
Yeah.
The tale of a female Hong Kong cop and a female Interpol agent running afoul of three petty thieves, played by comic actor John Shum, stuntman choreographer Mang Hoi, and director Choi Hark, while trying to bring down a crime lord, had snap, crackle, and pop to spare. It also had a future action star to whom ignorance was bliss. In the beginning, I substituted my lack of experience with guts and bravado, Michelle told me. On the first day of filming the climactic fight in the villain's palatial home, Michelle was supposed to do what the action choreographer referred to as an easy stunt, which, unbeknownst to Michelle, had already sent one stuntman to the hospital. All she had to do was sit on a balcony railing, fall back, curl the back of her knees on the railing, swing headfirst through a pane of glass beneath the railing, grab the legs of two villains, and then pull them back the other way so they could crash to the ground below.
That's all?
What did I know? Michelle remembered. I had dancing training. I just got up there and did it. And by so doing, won the admiration of the entire crew. But she wasn't alone in this admiration society. I think the crew was impressed, blonde American martial artist Cynthia Rothrock told me, because here I was, a little foreign woman who they thought would be afraid to get hurt. But I did everything they asked, including such terrific stunts as doing a split on the wall while fighting off thugs with a bamboo pole. It was all in a day's work for the real-life martial artist who was the #1 female kung fu stylist in the world 2 years running. Corey Yun put the two through their paces, making the kung fu movie fan yearn for a director's cut that would include a no-holds-barred battle at a temple and a scene in which the two fight off the ferocious Dick T.Y., both of which were left on the cutting room floor. But what remains is the seminal Hong Kong woman warrior epic. While Michelle went on to Royal Warriors, Rothrock moved on to an even more impressive follow-up, Righting Wrongs, a.k.a. Above the Law, 1986, not to be confused with Steven Seagal's 1988 film of the same name, is also considered one of Yuen Biao's best movies, an insane melange of Death Wish and The Untouchables, produced by Bao and directed by Corey Yun Kwai. Bao plays a law student whose professor is gunned down in front of him. After annihilating his prof's killer in a sizzling car chase and fight scene, Bao decides to go outside the law for justice. Rothrock plays the well-meaning Interpol agent who tries to stop him, not realizing how deep police corruption goes. Briskly brutal, with some amazing moments of Kung Fu black comedy, as when Cynthia and Yun do an acrobatic martial arts dance all over a seated murder victim, Righting Wrongs is not a happy movie, but it is consistently exciting with some great kung fu choreographed by the star, the director, Sammo Hung, Mang Hoi, and even Su Xiao. Not only does Rothrock fight Bao, but also fellow Caucasian Karen Shepard, who played a martial arts hip woman who murdered a teenage witness to the villain's homicidal politics. In the original version, everybody dies. But when that reality hurt the box office in certain countries, new scenes were shot that allowed either Yun and Cynthia or both to live. There are literally 4 versions of Righting Wrongs floating around. One in which they both live, one in which they both die, and two in which only one lives. There you go.
And scene. Very well read. Very
well read. Yeah, that's right.
Very well read.
Well.
We're learned now.
We are learned now. Yes.
So now you know the background. Now you can say what you thought of the movies.
All right. Oh, nice. Thank you for that, Rick. Let's start with Yes, Madam here. Eric, we'll start with you, brother. Thoughts on Yes, Madam when you first saw it and all that good stuff. What you liked and what you didn't like about it.
I think this was the first Rothrock film I saw that was a Hong Kong production. And it was this film back here so close that got me into the Girls with Guns stuff for Hong Kong. People kind of razz on that movie, but I like it quite a bit. Ironically, directed by Corey Yun. And Karen Mok in that movie duplicates the stunt that Michelle Yeoh did, albeit with CGI glass and more wires. But still, I do like that one. But yeah, this one, Yes, Madam. I mean, you kind of have to go right to the finale, I feel like, when I talk about this movie. Because it's just unbelievable. Like, the final fight is just unbelievable. And I remember, watching the film, and I was like, all right, you know what I mean? And then the final fight kicks in, and it's just mind-blowing. I mean, some of the stunt work alone. I mean, the one where the guy flips over the railing, hits his head on, like, a ledge, and then flips back, and I'm like, you could die with that, doing a stunt like that. And there's some really, really good hard-hitting strikes in this. The stuntmen do a great job. And just the precision of this movie when compared to some of Cynthia's American productions that I was familiar with at that point. This is like a full level up, you know what I mean? In terms of just the pure execution, because it's Hong Kong. And, the finale is obviously the big highlight of the movie. There are some other really good fights peppered in. Might be a little bit shorter, obviously, but my one problem that I've always had with this film is that some of the side plotting, which I do enjoy more nowadays than I did previously, I feel like I would have preferred maybe more of a focus on Cynthia and Michelle doing cop work together during the middle section.
Yeah.
But nowadays I have kind of warmed up to the side plotting and the comedy and stuff like that. So, I mean, my overall thoughts on this is that even though I'm a big fan of this whole franchise, like the In the Line of Duty franchise, but I still would say Yes, Madam probably would not rank highly if I were to rank the first 4 films specifically. But I'm glad Rick talked about that one thing, because I always remembered, like, there was confusion regarding which movie came first, Yes, Madam or Royal Warriors. And I was like, why was there always confusion? And what Rick was talking about regarding the release, situation makes that far more understandable. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Yes, Madam. Solid, old school Hong Kong action flick.
Copy that. So good. James.
So I've seen the end fight of this in a whole bunch of different clips, a whole bunch of different like documentaries about Hong Kong action. So I was already really familiar with that. This movie was weird. It had kind of had a let's make a movie attitude. Like it kind of felt like it barely had a script. The A plot and B plot don't really go together well, and there's a lot of I don't know why they undercranked scenes, but at the same time, I'm really sad that Cynthia and Michelle didn't team up more, just because they're a great pair. They work so well together. They have really great just chemistry, and yeah, like this fight, absolutely legendary fight. I thought it was really funny when Choi Hark popped up as like a scumbag counterfeiter. He's probably he and John Woo are probably the filmmakers who really got me most into kind of like Hong Kong directors and Hong Kong filmmaking. So it's just like, man, what point in his career was this? Because had he directed like the Zoo Warriors, had he started producing was a Better Tomorrow yet, or was he still a couple years away from that? But yeah, ultimately, this had a real kind of indie movie quality to it that it felt like just like we're just throwing stuff at the wall. Hey, we got access to the airport. Let's have a fight scene in an airport. And I noticed this a lot about 80s action in Hong Kong. The movie's ending, which is kind of a downer, the movie doesn't end, it just kind of stops. Like, they hit this like impasse, and one of the criminals like shoots an even worse person dead. Boom, the end. I noticed the same thing happened with Police Story and a lot of others. Like, yeah, this I know, and I get that endings are hard, but they didn't even bother trying to end it. Like, okay, cut it off here. It's like, all right, we hit our runtime, stop. And I kind of saw it a lot with movies of that era, and I also see it with like a fair amount of indie films too. So that was just fun, but also kind of getting to see, like, I think this is Corey Yun's third or fourth time as a director. So comparing this against Righting Wrongs was a lot of fun because you kind of get to see that evolution. I think, Rick, based on what you said, I think it might have been his first time directing, because I'm looking at his filmography and it's like, you got like Better, No Retreat, No Surrender. You have like a couple movies before it. But if this movie sat on the shelf for a while, this might have been his first time in the director's seat. Would you say that's accurate?
It's possible. I mean, again, I don't have the factual information. They didn't keep a lot of those facts at that time, but it's very possible because of the situation. Are you done? I'm gonna go off.
Oh no, please. I'm curious to know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the situation is that everything you guys found lacking about the film is explainable by the fact that it was deemed unreleasable. And it was deemed unreleasable. The reason that it's probably Corey Yun's first film is that he was the only one who was willing to do it, because everybody, the Hong Kong film industry started with the women being in charge, writing, directing, starring, until the men said, oh, we can't have, films are just for women anyway, so it's fine. Let them have their little fun. And then when men suddenly, and this happened in Hollywood too, and when men suddenly realized, well, wait a minute, no, we want to be in charge, then suddenly shut the women down, shut the Africans down, shut women, shut Asians, shut it. You know how filmmaking goes. And so Corey Yun wanted to break into the director's chair, so he was willing to do a movie with, oh my God, 2 female leads. What are we going to do? Oh my God.
And a white lady.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, even worse. So they made it, and then of course Hollywood is just like, oh no, what? I mean, Hong Kong Hollywood too, yes, but also Hong Kong sort of, oh no, we can't release this. The public isn't ready for it. The public doesn't want it. And so they team up Michelle, because Dixon Poon falls in love with Michelle, marries Michelle. She wants to be an actress. So he makes another movie with a male co-star. And that, of course, just like Black Panther, just like Shang-Chi, suddenly the audience has been waiting all these years anyway. And so they all go crazy, and they, oh, well, what we have to feed them. Thankfully, Dixon Poon is not a member of the group. Which is Golden Harvest and Shaw Brothers. So they're willing to do something a little bit more daring, like release Yes, Madam. But before they released it, everybody jumped on, including Choi Hark. Choi Hark was beginning, but he was an anti-establishment film director. So that's why he was willing to get involved with this. We'll put in all these, we'll bring in these 3 guys. Rather than bringing in 3 women into an all-guy movie, they're bringing in the guys into a girl movie. And so suddenly we have all these plots, which basically Choi wrote himself. Everybody just sort of did it on the day. They just put everything in there. The 2 really things that we wanted, which were the fight scenes, they cut those out. They cut the 2 big fight scenes out, which I never even got to see. But they said, oh, I mean, Dick T.Y. told me, Michelle told me, and I think Cynthia told me too. They were legendary. They were great fight scenes. But they probably lit their cigars with them with the celluloid. So that's why it was so disjointed. And by the way, also in terms of Hong Kong and Asian film distribution, this happens with a lot of films. They have to send different prints and different cuts to different regions and different countries. So what happens is, like what happened with Bullet in the Head. You have 3 different endings in 3 different areas, and it all depends on where you see it. Because I got to see it in Hong Kong, LA, and New York, I got to see a couple of different endings, especially of the upcoming film we're talking about. And so that's why I'm not surprised that it ends the way it does, because they basically, they're in the editing room going, how are we going to end this version? Well, he just shoots the guy. Okay, let's end there. That's fine. Or sometimes, or I like it in the Jackie Chan movies. I mean, if you always want to see the Japanese cut of any Hong Kong film, because the Japanese are always interested in the balanced version. So you go to see Police Story in Japan is a different movie than Police Story in Hong Kong, completely different ending. And the ending, of course, is always superior because it finishes the story. So that's telling you what happened here, why it's so crazy.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, just despite all of the craziness, despite the movie, they were trying to defeat the movie. It found its audience. Everyone considers it a classic still, even though you were breaking my heart, Rick, when you were telling me about all those fight scenes being cut.
Yeah.
I was dying over here. I'm slowly dying. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. Like, I was like, oh.
But we got that last one. That last one is one for the ages.
Oh, man. But, still, despite all that, I couldn't believe the finale. I mean, I enjoyed the movie as a whole. Of course, like Eric said, I wanted more of the girls, less of the goofy shenanigans. But it's still a fun watch, the comedy. But man, when we got here, I wasn't ready. I really didn't know. I was not expecting the epic throwdown that we got. And Cynthia was doing her thing. She was phenomenal, Michelle, and she just went off. And again, comparing the movie she made over here, when I was seeing her, when we get to see her use weapons in the Hong Kong films and stuff, it's just like night and day in comparison. It's insane. But so good, phenomenal. And shout out to James Tien, Eric, our boy James Tien, having fun being a kingpin. It seemed like he played the same role. It was a fun role, but it seemed like, was it My Lucky Stars? What other movies, Eric?
Yeah, once you're cast in a Hong Kong film, that's you forever.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're always playing that character over and over and over.
He's just
again.
a kingpin boss.
Yeah.
But, it's fun seeing him. But yeah, phenomenal movie. Before we move on, Rick, was there anything else you wanted to say about Yes, Madam? I
enjoyed it more because I knew who I knew who the guys were. So when they had all these dumb plots, I was going, Choi Hark,
Samo,
and all this stuff. So it was so I still enjoyed it, but now that you guys mentioned it, it's true. The only thing you remember is that last fight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Copy
Two
that.
quick observations that I noticed. The soundtrack, Halloween. Did you notice that in a few moments? And then my favorite line of the movie, I think I quoted it correctly. I hope your kids will be born without a-holes. I think is the translation. So it was a great line.
Where's the T-shirt, Eric? We have a T-shirt walking around. But yeah, phenomenal movie. Definitely a classic. Despite the little issues we had, the little nitpicks we had with it. But now, righting wrongs. Now this one, and Rick already mentioned all the different endings. This one, the first time I watched it, big UNBL fan, and I was again blown away by the fights. I love vigilante movies. This is right up my alley. So the violence, the action, everything is so good in righting wrongs. So I had to recommend it to people. When I started recommending it to people, they were like, they all gave me the same answer. Every single one of them. Man, that movie you let me borrow, man, the action was so good, but God, that ending.
Mm.
This is the worst ending ever. I hate the movie. I can't even rewatch this movie now. They all had the exact same. They were all like, man, that was such a bummer. That was such a letdown. Oh, I was so on board. I was going to give the movie 5 out of 5 stars. And then as soon as that ending happened, and I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I didn't make the movie. Don't get mad at me. I didn't have an issue with the ending. I like dark endings. Once in a while, it's nice to have a dark ending. And usually with vigilante movies, they kind of don't make it anyway. They usually die at the end, unless they're planning on making a whole bunch of sequels like Charles Bronson. But I mean, again, I understand the issues. I get it, especially when you're invested in the characters and you're just like, oh, that sucks that they all died. But now, like Rick said, you have the different cuts, so there you go. But this, man, again, Yunbiao kills it, man. The parking lot action sequence was insane. Martial arts, all the fights he had, they were all great. They were all top tier. We even get a little bonus fight with Cynthia and him. Of course, I could watch them go at it, all day in a fight sequence. They could have had an end finale fight of their own. But it's all about the Cynthia Rothrock Karen Shepard fight. Is insane. Karen pulling out the steel whip. I was like, dude, this is insanity. And one of my favorite UNBL kicks of all time, man.
Oh man.
Oh,
this is I mean, and who took that hit? Does anyone know who took that hit full on? Because that's not Melvin.
I would imagine it's the same guy who's, I would imagine it's, what's his name? Oh God, why am I
Chin Carlock?
Yeah, Chin Carlock. Because he also doubled Jackie when he was doing that kick in Dragons Forever.
Right.
So yeah, he's used to this shit. So yeah.
Do you guys agree you would put this on if you were to make a UNBL top 10 movies list, would you put this on there?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. I
would too. But yeah, that's enough for my yakking. James, Righting Wrongs, man. What'd you think of it?
So yeah, this I had heard about this so many times. I meant to rent it from Hollywood Video and I was dumb. But man, this movie, this is when someone talks about like 80s Hong Kong movies being awesome, they're talking about stuff like this. The story was actually a lot more coherent. Like the fights, like Yes, Madam had an amazing end fight. This has an amazing fight or amazing stunt sequence every like 10 minutes. Just like the parking lot bit, or when the assassin comes after him in his apartment, or literally anything that Cynthia does. And even by the end, where it's like, the Yes, Madam had that really like crazy like end fight. This the fight was amazing too, but it felt like the personal stakes were higher. Kind of felt like you can see like Corey Yun, his filmmaking has really evolved here. Like the movie just looks fantastic. Just like the cinematography, the editing, the music, the sound, all of it, the way the fights are done. This is one of those movies where if someone's interested in getting their start, this should absolutely be on the list of like, here, go watch this. But also let's see if we can find the ending where at least one of them lives, because I watched the one on Haya, and it was a bit of a bummer. It's like, I get it. Vigilante, Cynthia goes out in the worst possible. That was like the most brutal death I've ever seen. Like, guys, this is no, that's the drill. No, just never do that again. But yes, Bummer City for sure. It's one of the greats. I would put it up against most of what Jackie was putting out around that same time too.
Oh yeah, very well said, Eric. You hated it.
No.
You love the ending. You hated the movie.
No.
Just like, when are they gonna die already? Come on.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll defend that, because I like my villains sometimes to be ruthless. And you get these death scenes throughout the movie, it's like, damn, these guys, even dude, that apartment scene with the assassin and the kids. Are you serious right now? Like, so they just keep going, and it's like, and you get it builds on itself to create like a memorable crew of villains that don't mess around. And I kind of like that. You know what I mean? So I kind of prefer the dark version of the film. The other thing that it just drew a connection in my mind, there was a Vietnamese movie from 2006 called The Rebel with Johnny Wynn, I think. And there's a kick in that movie right near the train. And it's almost the same kick that Yun Biao does right here. And so I'm wondering if maybe Johnny Wynn was inspired by this movie or something like that. Or maybe Yun Biao specifically when he choreographed that fight. But yeah, this movie, I mean, the action really sells it. But I did like the plot. And I feel like it's just a more consistent movie when compared to Yes, Madam, through as a thread line. You know what I mean? And I would have to say that the parking lot scene almost reminded me kind of like a demolition derby because the cars keep crashing. Like if you were trapped inside of a demolition derby and just try to get out alive,
right?
That's what it reminded me of. Another shout out goes to the office fight, the nighttime office fight between Yun Biao and that one assassin dude. That was a really good. This was a good scene too.
Yeah.
So and obviously the first time I watched this movie, I had no idea what was going to happen with Cynthia, and when that happened, it was pretty shocking. So I think this movie is just a pretty solid overall flick, and there's not a lot of criticism that I have of it actually.
Copy that. All right, Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Thoughts on Righting Wrong?
Oh, that. I'm trying to remember, what was the movie that Yun made with Johnny, not Johnny To, Alfred Chung, where it was a crime thriller. He was I think it was On the Run.
On the Run.
Mm-hmm. And Righting Wrongs and On the Run are a great double feature.
Yeah.
And just show where Yun would go when left to his own devices. And somebody earlier, I think Shin Batman, as a matter of fact, you said you wished that Yun made more movies and Cynthia made. Well, he didn't make more movies because he wasn't as driven as Sammo and Jackie was. He wanted to live a good life. He didn't care whether he was a movie star. He already was a movie star. He already been. I mean, it was enough for him to just be in the movies he was in. He didn't have to be in it for the rest of his life. It was important that he had a happy family and a happy life. And Sammo and Jackie aren't as interested in that. They're interested in always being in that place, but they have good reason for doing that. But in any case, Righting Wrongs and Yes, Madam is I'm going to be very interested to see what the other votes are, because this is a perfect example of what my attitude is. If you don't nail the ending, you've lost half the movie. Okay. And so here we have Yes, Madam with one of the greatest endings of all time in terms of, I mean, I don't even remember the actual ending. I just remember that final fight. Yeah. While I also remember the ending of Righting Wrongs, which made me go, oh, that's too bad. Because meanwhile, the rest of it's great. I'm going great for the rest of it. Oh my God, what amazing fights. And he's fighting every sex. He's fighting every color. He's fighting every, and he's doing a brilliant job. He's just so light on his feet. And that, if he was actually using that gun when he was first shooting at the beginning, I thought he'd be going, oh, I can't lift this. The gun is too big for me. I'm going to use my fists. But in any case, the ending is such a downer. And the Yes, Madam has such an upper ending. Righting Wrongs has such a downer ending. I'm going to be fascinated to see what the vote is, to see whether this is living proof of my contention of you got to nail the ending. Because otherwise, Righting Wrongs is far superior until the end.
Well, it could be argued that, like, you don't remember Yes, Madam's ending because it didn't actually have an ending. It just, like I said, it just stopped.
It also didn't have anything before the final fight either.
Yeah.
It's got, in Righting Wrongs, you're going, oh, that fight, that fight, that fight, that fight, that fight.
Right.
Yes, Madam, it's, oh, that fight.
Right.
Just one.
Oh my goodness.
So I mean, does Yes, Madam benefit from the fact that only one major section of it's really memorable, whereas Righting Wrongs, it had like the ending's a downer, but it's a memorable ending. Just probably because it's a downer.
Yeah. What this is Yes, Madam.
Yeah.
And this is Righting Wrongs. Boom.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but we forgot that before we get to the video votes. What about the stunt at the end?
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
That was insane. Oh my
So
goodness.
what if we pretend? I mean, what if you saw the mega happy ending, and it was where both of them got to live? You know, would that because there is no real official canonical ending because there's like 4 of them,
right?
So you could
and all they do is survive. It's still not a big upper. You know, the big upper would be them team up and do to Melvin Wong what Melvin Wong did to them in the other cuts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, first put the drill in Melvin Wong, and then throw him out of the plane. That's the ending you should have, but they don't have that. Instead, Cynthia gets the drill, and Yun goes out of the plane.
Copy that. All right. Well, it is time for us to get to the voting. But before these legends vote, we have, as is tradition, we have our special guest voters, video voters. So let's go ahead and see what their pick is.
I'm ready.
And get it started. Here we go.
Hi guys, my name is Therese. I am a filmmaker based in Sydney, Australia, and whilst it was a very tough choice picking between Yes Madam and Righting Wrongs, I am gonna have to go with Yes Madam now. Yen Biu kicks ass in everything that he does, and the final stunt that he does in Righting Wrongs is pretty insane. It's nuts. But you can't go past the team up between Cynthia Rothrock and Michelle Yeoh, especially in the final fight sequence.
All right. Shout out to Therese from Silver Harvest Productions. Yes, filmmaker. It's great to see you. She gets points for the PlayStation cap. That's right. All right. We got one for Yes, Madam. Here we go.
Hello, Preston and everybody at the Kung Fu Movie Dojo. This is Jose Manuel, the man from Kathmandu, and you can also catch me in Fist of the Condor with Marco Saror. On our verses today, you say we have Yes, Madam and Righting Wrongs. And these 2 movies have one common denominator that makes them both worth watching, and that is Cynthia Rothrock. But I have to pick one, and we have Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock in Yes, Madam, and we have Yuen Biu and Cynthia Rothrock in Righting Wrongs, and Corey Juen is directing both. This should be a draw. And I'm going to go off topic and make an honorable mention, because I recently saw Magnificent Warriors with Michelle Yeoh, and I have to say that movie beats the hell out of this too. But to get to the point and being fair, I've watched Righting Wrongs more than once. I mean, Yuen Biu versus Cynthia Rothrock. That's the versus I want to see. So my pick for this round is going to be Righting Wrongs. I send you a big hug, Preston, and I hope to see you soon at the dojo, brother.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Jose. Thank you so much for that. He's phenomenal.
Magnificent Warriors is better than both of these?
Maybe he meant Royal Warriors.
I don't know.
Even so.
I like both of those. Those are great.
I like them too, but I don't think they're better than these 2.
I mean, Hiro Sanada he was great in Royal Warriors.
No question.
It's a very good compliment to Michelle.
No question.
Oh yeah. All right. Thank you, Jose, for that. And next up, all right, Frankie.
Yo, man. What's good, man? This is Frankie Balboa, a.k.a. the Shogun Supreme from Times Square Kung Fu and Phat Samurai. Ooh, I love you for this one. This is what I'm talking about. So we doing Yes, Madam versus Righting Wrongs, and I definitely have to say Yes, Madam. We're talking about the fight here, not the story, because, you know, Righting Wrongs definitely has the better story, but terrible finale, disgusting. I'm like, whatever, doesn't matter what version you pick for the ending. But Yes, Madam, and for an abundance of reasons. Better fashion. That's why I'm looking at all you guys in your little Zoom boxes. Better fashion, man. Them ladies killed it, crush it, man. I love those little short haircuts on them ladies. Number 2, the diverse and unique locations and settings for the fights and locations. You have a nice bar sequence with vibrant colors. Michelle Yeoh, Cynthia Rothrock versus Dick Wade, where it transitions into the bathroom, and they got some nice tight angles in those fight sequences. And the airport scene. That thing is intense, amazing with the Romeo Diaz soundtrack blasting along. And something that I didn't see at the time was how the editing was done in that film, where it transitions to a nice overhead shot where my man jumps over the turnstile, and then it transitions to a nice long pan shot of Michelle Yeoh doing an ECW leg drop on Homeboy. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, the editing in that film reminded me how impactful and influential the editing was for Prodigal Son, which a lot of people didn't see at the time. So Yes Man has all of that, and Right and Wrongs is way a lot more linear. Yeah, you have a nice scene in the parking lot with Yoongbyu, you know, with the cars and doing all this bobbing and weaving. But other than that, it's just a straightforward approach and doesn't have anything that escalates all the way up compared to Yes Man, especially that finale for Yes Man, and that's still being referenced to this day. I mean, a lot of Girls with Guns films reference Michelle's top balcony sequence going through the glass, grabbing Homeboy from the booty ankles, and some of those Girls with Guns films, especially in Angel Terminators 1, where you see Peng Chang do it. So yeah, man, definitely Yes Madam all day, every day, man. And you already know, Frankie Balboa sign out. Peace.
There you go.
Frankie.
There you go.
All right. Shout out to Frankie. All right. Next up, actor, filmmaker, stuntman, Nathan.
Yo, yo, yo. It's your boy Nathan Gearin here, multi-award-winning film director and fight choreographer. What can I say? Yes, Madam and Right and Wrongs, aka Above the Law. Both awesome films, so good films. Like Korean really killed it on both of these movies. These films, they both deal with like justice. But in almost like a tragic kind of way where like, the heroes of both movies, they don't really meet like happy endings and stuff. Justice is served, but it's almost kind of like bittersweet. And, that is also surprising seeing, how many like alternate endings, that Above the Law, aka Right and Wrong has. But, for me, kind of like, that's where about the similarities kind of like ends. For me on these films, because like Yes Madam is a real comical film. Obviously you have Strepsil, Panadol and Aspirin played by the late great Mang Hoi, Tsoi Hark and John Sham, who was also a Curly in Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars. Those three together are a great combination with this film. And also the other great combination is, of course, Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock. Two of the greatest to ever do it in not only Hong Kong but throughout the world. Their end fight where they team up together, absolute gold. Brilliant fight action through this film. And I love kung fu comedies. I love more of a comical kind of element to my kung fu. I'm not gonna lie. Whereas kind of like Right and Wrongs was a bit more moody. Had a real kind of like serious vibe to it. But obviously you had some legendary fights in that with Yoongbyu and Melvin Wong, like that 540 kick, like whew, yo, that connected for real, that one. And also obviously the legendary fight between Cynthia Rothrock and Karen Shepherd. Both real awesome films. But for me, like, I don't want to say it, man, because like I say, I love kung fu comedies and things like that. And like, Yes Madam was not, totally a kung fu comedy, but there's so many like comedic aspects in it compared to Right and Wrongs. But like, just in terms of the quality of the fight action, Right and Wrongs, I feel a lot of those hits more in that film. I've got to give it to Right and Wrongs. Only just though, only just. If you haven't already had a chance to go to the film festival and check it out, Flaming Assassin is still doing the rounds on the film festival circuit right now. And I've also got some cool martial arts short films that are in post-production right now. So hopefully I'll be able to drop some awesome kung fu bombs on y'all soon. One love. Peace.
Now wait a minute. I think he misspoke. because he was building all the way up to yes, madam, and then he just says, "I gotta choose right and wrong." And it's like
plot twist.
We got to go with righting wrongs.
That's fine. I'm fine with it, but I'd love for you to get in touch with me and say, "Did you mean to say righting wrongs?"
Maybe there's a different ending version floating around.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There you go.
All right. This next one, he's a fanatical dragon.
Greetings all, Fanatical Dragon here. So sorry that I can't be here to join you guys tonight. Work came up at the last minute and has stopped me participating. Desperately wanted to get into these two because two absolute titans this time round. I'm going Right and Wrongs versus Yes Madam was always going to be a really tough debate. I cannot predict which one's going to come out on top. Absolutely adore both movies. Right and Wrongs probably my favourite Yun Biao single sort of starring performance when he's not with his two other dragons in a single movie. And I think he does a really good job as the kind of, if Daredevil could see, that kind of lawyer by day, vigilante by night. Absolutely incredible and a pretty hardcore movie in places. And that whole opening act of kind of blowing up an apartment full of kids. Pretty rough, but yeah, really good. And Yun Biao incredible in the film. Cynthia Rothrock, great in a sort of supporting role in this. Versus Yes Madam, easily my favourite Michelle Yeoh movie from that period. My all-time favourite Cynthia Rothrock movie. And I think overall between the two, I gotta go with Yes Madam. The comedy hits better. For me, it works much better than in the Lucky Stars movies. Really like the kind of the old guys. We're getting David Chang and Richard Ng and Sammo Hung with grey up hair in the hospital doing their little cameo. And I love the sort of comedy triple bill of John Shum, Mang Hoi, and the director Choi Hark in a pretty incredible acting performance. But really, it's this last reel, that kind of incredible fight between Cynthia Rothrock, Michelle Yeoh going toe-to-toe against Chung Fat and Dick Wei that kind of wins it out for me. I think overall, better action, more intense action in that last reel. And I think just all around, I think for me, ever so slightly better movie, but god damn it, it's never been as close as it is this time around. So between the two, I'm going Yes Madam. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great time tonight. I'll look forward to checking out and seeing which one came up on top. Please check out my channel if you haven't had a chance. I've been the Fanatical Dragon. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Thanks again, brother. We'll definitely get you on the next one, man. Appreciate you. You know who this guy is.
Hello, Frank Jane here, the Commenter Reads here in New York City. I'm right by the famous Sabar's grocery store, right here on Upper West Side. See how nice the weather is today? So anyway, I'm here to talk about Yes Madam versus Righting Wrong. So Yes Madam, fantastic finale, great fights, a star-making vehicle for both Michelle Yeoh and Cynthia Rothrock. With that said, I'm quite surprised actually by the popularity of the film because, the film only really have like about 15 minutes of fight, where the rest are all comedy. But hey, I think people love it. I think Choi Hark, the late Mang Hoi, and John Shum, they were fantastic as the kind of like the comedy trio in the film. But of course, it's the fights, man. The fights at the end, just absolutely brilliant. Courtesy of Mang Hoi. Michelle Yeoh kicks ass. Cynthia Rothrock, of course, kick ass the moment she, arrived at the Kai Tak Airport. Right, so I completely understand why Yes Madam is such a beloved classic. With that said, Right and Wrong is a fantastic film. The vigilante theme, the great characterization by Yun Biao and Cynthia Rothrock. Some fantastic fights. With Yun Biao, Karen Shepard, Peter Cunningham, and of course that wonderful finale with that absolutely batshit crazy stunt at the end. On the plane. And I just think that in terms of the balance of action, I just think Right and Wrong has more action and it's more evenly paced, whereas Yes Madam tends to be just a little bit more too comedy oriented. Still, I mean, it's a great film, no doubt about it. But for me, my vote goes to Right and Wrongs. Until next time, take care and bye-bye, and come to New York. Bye-bye.
Well, I'd go to New York if you invited me, Frank.
Shout out to Frank.
I'm getting these messages all day. Oh, here I am at this thing. Here I am at this thing. I go, I know, I was there with you. Not today, though, because he's too busy with his Enter the Clones of Bruce.
Yeah.
Oh, we lost James.
James probably stepped off for a second there.
Okay.
We got a barn burner. It's 3 versus 3, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
All tied up.
All right. Shout out to Frank. Thanks again, brother. The commentary beast. And Frankie, earlier, the Shogun, interviewed Frank out there during the documentary. Yeah. So
there you go.
Yes.
Weird.
Everyone's meeting each other. All
That's
right, here we
right.
go.
Good.
The last vid vote. Some call this man a martial arts film freak.
Dude, what are you doing? This isn't even a competition.
What are you?
I'm your subconscious. Somehow, you made this decision so difficult that your brain just blinked me into some sort of physical representation. Now, make a decision before the other guy shows up.
Other guy?
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I got lost in the dark thoughts. What are we debating? Righting wrongs and yes, madam. Right. Obvious choice is yes, no. Remember what happened with that movie? You got so hyped because the final fight scene you watched on YouTube 1,000 times, it's so good, oh my god. And then what happened? The movie let you down. Only by the limited action, you still thought the movie was funny. This isn't Fat Samurai Guy presents comedy versus. It's action versus. Action versus.
He makes a good point. I mean, Cynthia Rothrock, Yuan Biao, Melvin Wong, Peter Cunningham, Karen Shepard. I mean, yeah, this movie is an action juggernaut.
Yes, madam has Cynthia Rothrock too, and I'll take your Karen Shepard and I'll raise you a Michelle Yeoh, a pre-Super Cop Michelle Yeoh, a pre-Dixon Poon. Dixon Poon.
Michelle Yeoh is amazing. This movie also does have Dick Wei, Fat Chung. Melvin Wong is even in this.
Why are you debating this? Action versus. One of these movies has quality and quantity well over the other one. Hurry up and make a decision. These votes are supposed to be like a minute long.
Luke, you must go to the Dagobah system. Also, Leia is going to try to French you later. Don't let her. I've made a choice.
Finally. Later, nerd.
What a production.
I
My
know.
gosh.
I know. Shout out to Tristan. He went all out. Thank you so much, brother. Had me dying over here. But yeah. All right. What are we now?
4-3.
4-3.
For
right.
righting wrong.
We're righting wrongs. It's so super close. All right. Now it's time for these legends to vote here. James, who you got?
So I totally get the concern about the bummer ending. Yeah, totally. But at the same time, I prefer to have a bummer ending over no actual ending and just a much more consistent, much more just like engaging film. So I'm going to have to give it to Righting Wrongs.
Okay.
Just because, yeah, it's overall just a better film. And I kind of wonder, I will wonder if we were to say, watch a better ended version of Righting Wrongs versus a version of Yes, Madam they rediscovered the cut fights and reinsert them. I really do wonder. That would be kind of a fascinating.
Oh yeah. Revisit. Yeah.
There are people in the world who specialize in finding lost films, so kind of point somebody in that direction. But yeah, for me, it's gonna go to Righting Wrongs.
All right. Eric?
I'm voting for Righting Wrongs as well for the same exact reasons that James mentioned. I have nothing else to add.
I wonder which one Rick is picking. Rick,
you wonder? Well, which one could I possibly pick? Being a movie fan, we're coming to. I've been watching way too many food competition shows, and I keep on remembering what they all say. What is the meal that I would come back for? What would I see it again? And the fact of the matter is, as if I was only fast forwarding to the fights, it would be Righting Wrongs. But the thing is, I don't care if I ever see Righting Wrongs again. If somebody said, "You want to watch the ending of Yes, Madam?" I'd go, "Yeah, let's please, come on." So I'm going to vote for Yes, Madam.
All righty, there we go. Represent.
4 to,
Yes, Madam.
4 to 6. So we have already got a winner.
Oh my goodness. Well, hey, you guys know me. I kind of gave it away earlier. I love vigilante movies. And it's dark, violent, brutal. The fights are great, and Yes, Madam is still a classic. But there can only be one.
And now, what did the public say?
This is you're gonna be surprised by this.
No, we're not.
Voted.
We're not going to be surprised.
I think you will be. The
I don't think
voted.
so.
Here we go. What did the public choose?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that, Rick.
Am I surprised? No. Because this is the public.
Yeah.
Again, this is what I was saying. The public is going to choose what makes them happy, not what makes them sad.
But yeah, pretty close though. Still pretty close.
Are you saying that? Are you saying that we're kind of like very morose, very like?
No, not at all. Yeah. You guys are movie people, so you're going to choose. You're not going to go to the movie. You're going to study the movie. You're not just going to watch it. So yeah, it makes perfect. And this is the way the public always goes for what it goes for, and it's usually not what we go for. Or what you go for.
I think the last time the public actually chose John Wick Chapter 4 over Hard Boiled.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you see?
Yeah. James is like, James is having a heart attack.
And the public is also racist. So there you go. They're going to choose the white American over the Asian. Of course they are.
I have so many opinions about John Wick 4.
Oh my goodness. But this was a blast. Always a blast talking films with these lovely gents. And before we wrap it up, we got to give the shout out to the one and only Cynthia Rothrock. We love you. Your movies are amazing. Thank you so much for, putting in the hard work over the years, and giving us amazing entertainment. And she's still out there kicking ass and taking names.
She's got a new movie. Yeah, there we go. Black Creek.
Yeah, Black Creek. I'm looking forward to definitely checking out Black Creek because I love us some Westerns, but with a little martial arts spice on that. So I'm sold already. So make sure you guys check out Black Creek when that becomes available. Before we wrap it up, James, anything you'd like to say? Anything coming out? What's going on in the couche world?
Right now, still just getting the Lost Phoenix scene. It's honestly going really well. We'll be at the Cannes Film Market next month. Not me, but the movie. So here's hoping it connects with people overseas too.
Yeah, congrats, man! Congratulations, that's awesome. Eric, what's coming up to the channel, or what's on the channel right now?
Well, just a whole bunch of reviews, really. I'm continuing my Asian horror kind of exploration. Maybe about once a month I do one of those videos, and then in the meantime I'll do movie reviews and some collection videos are coming up too.
Nice. Love them collection videos. It just makes me jealous. It makes me happy and jealous at the same time, Eric. I hope you're happy. But yeah, make sure you check out and subscribe to Eric. Follow James's film making career. That's right. Links are in the description box below. Get a piece of Rick. That's right. Autographs, merchandise, all kinds of cool stuff that he has from guys like Jet Li, John Woo, all that stuff, Jackie Chan. You guys want to own some cool stuff? Hit the link in the description box below. And before we go, Rick, anything
yes,
you like to say?
Yes, next month On May 21st, a book is coming out in a bookstore or an Amazon or the internet near you. It's called The Way of Ronin. It's by a gentleman named Tu Lam, who was my guest at the Kung Fu Extravaganza at the San Diego Comic-Con last year. And it's already on pre-order bestseller lists. I have read it multiple times, and I can recommend it highly. So if you would pre-order it, that would help the ratings. And I'll just leave it there. The Way of Ronin.
Yeah, it was awesome meeting him, man. What a specimen.
Incredible story. Just an amazing story.
Oh, yeah.
Very well told.
Nice. Copy that. But yeah, it was great meeting him last year for sure. But this was awesome. Hey, follow everybody here. Once again, if you enjoyed yourself, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Old Samurai Guy. Check out all of the ridiculous podcasts I've been doing. This is like every day. I got a podcast guest, Sarah Chang from Accident Man, Hitman's Holiday, Phil Tommy. From Gangs of London. Samurai Guy is
Frank is the commentary beast. You are the podcast beast.
Yeah,
you are the YouTube beast, man.
Samurai Guy needs a nap, though, man.
I do.
Yeah.
Look, I just said screw it. I just full gray. I'm embracing it now.
Yeah.
Screw it. But yeah, love you guys, and I'll see all you badasses on the next one. Take care, guys. Versus, baby.